Thom Hartmann here on the news. You need to know this. No go on the death photos. President Obama has decided not to release photos of bin Laden's dead corpse, saying in an upcoming 60 Minutes interview for this weekend, it is important to make sure very graphic photos of somebody who's been shot in the head are not floating around as an incitement to additional violence or as a propaganda tool. We don't need to spike the football. We don't trot this stuff out as trophies. The president's decision is a marked departure from the policies of George W. Bush, who repeatedly trotted out his trophies of people he killed while president, including Saddam Hussein's two sons and Abu Musab al-Zarqawi. It will also disappoint the bloodthirsty people like Sarah Palin, who tweeted yesterday telling the president to stop pussyfooting around and show photos as warnings to others. Knowing the release of the photos could put our troops at risk and spur more violence, and certainly wouldn't satisfy the deathers who think Sunday's mission was a fake and would just say the same about the photos, the president saw no good reason to release them. That's not who we are, the president said. I agree. No reason to brag or show how violent we can be. It took us 10 years to get rid of bin Laden, and we're just recovering from Bush's brutality. Now it's time to move on. Every single Republican in the House of Representatives yesterday voted to pass a radical piece of legislation that redefines rape and harms women. With 1 in 7 people on food stamps in America, Republicans are focusing on the important issue, like how to screw over victimized women. The No Taxpayer Funding for Abortion Act passed on a party-line vote, dropping women who've been victims of statutory rape from Medicaid coverage for abortions. The bill also raises taxes on small businesses and women by eliminating tax deductions for health insurance plans that may cover abortion services. Even the Chamber of Commerce acknowledged the bill was a tax hike. The bill also forces women who have to undergo an abortion using federal dollars to undergo a rape audit, where she will have to prove to the IRS with written documentation that she was indeed the victim of rape, incest, or that her life was in danger. More than 135,000 people petitioned Speaker of the House John Boehner to not pass this radical new law. He ignored every single one of them since, as a man, he knows much more about abortion than women do. Luckily, this bill has no chance of passing the democratically controlled Senate, where there is currently no war against women taking place. In the best of the rest of the news, is the Obama administration going after medical marijuana? Back in 2009, Attorney General Eric Holder reversed a policy of George W. Bush and promised he would not use the FBI to bust up medical marijuana dispensaries in states that had legalized pot as medicine. But earlier this month, the Department of Justice started singing a different tune, sending a letter to the governor of Washington state threatening to prosecute any state employee or business involved in the unlawful market and sale of marijuana, prompting that governor to veto the state's medical marijuana law. Other governors around the country are now having second thoughts about legalizing medical marijuana, too. With the war on drugs a complete failure and prison populations soaring, now is not the time to be taking a step back from a responsible drug policy in America. TEPCO workers in Japan walked inside one of the crippled nuclear reactor buildings for the first time today. They're trying to reconnect ventilation equipment within Reactor 1 so they can get the cooling system back online to stop the reactor core from melting down. There are still high levels of radiation in that building, so plant operators will be working in shifts until the repairs are finished, which should take about 5 days. I have a feeling people are already starting to forget just how serious this nuclear situation in Japan is and just how volatile nuclear power is in general. And if we forget, just like we forgot about 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl, it's bound to happen again. Think Progress has released a report based on information within the CIA fact book that shows that wealth inequality in the United States is now almost as bad as it is in Uganda and worse than the Ivory Coast, Pakistan, and Ethiopia. That's right, there's a bigger gap between the rich and poor in America than in third world nations like Ethiopia and the Ivory Coast. That's what 30 years of Reagan's trickle-down economics have done. Transformed America, the world's superpower, into America, the world's largest third world nation. Yesterday, 26 House Republicans joined together to form an energy coalition to promote unlocking vac access and tapping into the vast amounts of taxpayer-owned energy resources, both on our public lands and off our coasts. End of quote. Basically, to make sure our nation is even more hooked on oil. Coalition is named HEAT, the House Energy Action Team. And guess what all these Republicans on HEAT have in common? They have all received huge campaign contributions from big oil. Over $4 million has been handed over to members of HEAT And every single member except one has voted to keep in place $40 billion worth of taxpayer subsidies for big oil, enough to add a dozen teachers to every school district in America if we didn't give it as a gift to the oil industry CEOs. Considering the recent evidence that global warming is speeding up, HEAT ought to change its name simply to the Committee to End the World. Crazy alert, not worth the paper it's written on. CNN conducted a poll yesterday asking Americans whether or not they think Osama bin Laden is in hell. 61% of respondents said yes, they think he's in hell. Nearly a quarter of people offered up the more reasonable answer, saying they're not sure. 5% of those polled said they don't believe in hell. It's unclear if the CNN Bureau in India will release their own hard-hitting poll. What will Osama bin Laden be reincarnated as? And that's the way it is today, Thursday, March 5th, 2011. I'm Thom Hartmann on the news.